Well, everything's starting to look a little bit more rosy in the world of Ipswich Town at the minute, isn't it? 6 points off second place with a game in hand, and we host Watford at Portman Road next. Hello everybody and welcome back to the Harvey Bell YouTube channel. I am today going to be breaking down Ipswich Town versus Watford ahead of the two sides meeting on Tuesday night at Portman Road. Before we do that though, you can see in the top left hand corner of the screen that I am currently trying to grow my subscriber count to around 1,500 before Christmas. So if you do enjoy the content, please do subscribe down below and also jump into the comments section and tell me what you think the score's going to be. Before we preview ahead to Ipswich Town versus Watford, I thought it might be useful to run through the weekend's championship results. So let's do it. And it was a very spooky Halloween for Coventry City, trick or treat, and they definitely got tricked by Wrexham. Kieffer Moore scored a hat-trick and Wrexham beat Coventry 3-2 at the racecourse on Friday night. Into Saturday's results then, and forgive me if I'm looking away a little bit off the camera here because I'm reading the results off of my computer. And Blackburn Rovers got a good away win at Leicester City. They won 2-0. Hull City also 2-0 away winners at the expense of Norwich City. Norwich, of course, have now lost all 7 of their home games this season. Pressure building on Liam Manning and Ben Napper. A 0-0 draw between West Brom and Sheffield Wednesday at the Hawthorns. Birmingham City with a thunderous 4-0 victory against Portsmouth at St Andrews. Charlton Athletic and Swansea City, a goal and a point apiece. 1-1 was the final score at the Valley. Oxford United and Millwall drew 2-2. We obviously know Ipswich beat Queen's Park Rangers by 4-1 at Loftus Road. A big win for Derby County in their bid for survival. They went over 3-1 against their relegation rivals, it seems at the minute, Sheffield United. Preston North End were 2-0 winners at Southampton. Stoke City thumped Bristol City by 5-1. And Tuesday night's Portman Road visitors, Watford, beat Middlesbrough 3-0 at Vicarage Road. So a couple of shocking results in there, not least Watford, of course, beating Middlesbrough 3-0. We're going to go over that in a little bit more detail in a minute. But goals flying around in the Championship at the minute. And yeah, as I say, Ipswich Town up to 9th in the table, just a couple of points off Bristol City in 6th place. So with a win on Tuesday night, we could find ourselves as high as 5th and into the playoff race, but also, you know, very, very big chance that we find ourselves much closer to 2nd place, much closer to those automatic positions where we want to be, and with a game in hand as well. So it's starting to look a little bit better as far as we're concerned as Ipswich Town fans. Okay, let's take a look at Watford then. And it's really hard to try and judge Watford, and to be fair to them, I only really want to judge them on the last month or so. And that's a very good reason as to why that is. And that's because Pezzolano, their former manager, got sacked at the start of October, and in his place came in Harvey Bell for his second spell at Vicarage Road. So I really only want to judge them on what Harvey Bell has done so far. And what he has done so far is record a very, very good win over Middlesbrough at the weekend. Of course, Middlesbrough having a terrific start to the season. Previously had only lost 1 game so far this season. And yeah, Watford absolutely thumped them at Vicarage Road 3-0. Really, really sort of bizarre scoreline, not one that anybody was expecting, but a really strong performance from Watford and a very, very good 3 points for them. They currently sit in 10th place just behind Ipswich Town, will fancy themselves for a little bit of a push for the playoffs, I would imagine. And I mean, why wouldn't they? They've got a really, really good squad. Grazia has had success with them before. He managed them in the Premier League and got them as far as an FA Cup final, although they didn't win it. But yeah, I mean, Watford fans will definitely be optimistic with him at the helm. He's only taken charge of 4 games so far this season. The first one was a 1-0 defeat to Sheffield United. Of course, Sheffield United not having a very good start to the season, very poor so far. So that's not the best result, but you can't really judge him too much on that, just on the basis that he was very, very new and hadn't really had much of a chance to implement any of his playing styles at that point. They did beat West Brom by 2-1. West Brom are obviously a decent outfit, so that's a fairly good result. Lost 3-1 to Coventry, can't really begrudge them that. Coventry are brilliant this season, scoring goals for fun. And then, as we say, the result against Middlesbrough is a very, very good one. So a mixed bag so far, but it does worry me a little bit that their best result has come as recently as last weekend, because you start to get that impression. Have Watford clicked? Has the new manager finally got his team playing the way that he wants them to play? And hopefully come Tuesday night, Ipswich Town can blunt that little bit of momentum that they've got going. So, it's quite worrying to play them at this time. I think, they're starting to get a bit of confidence, and the new manager has obviously got them playing a decent way. So that'll be interesting to see how we get on Tuesday night. They've got some really good players. I think probably one of the best centre midfielders in the division in Imran Louza. Obviously, he's got 5 goals so far this season. Very creative. Not very often that you see a centre midfielder getting on the score sheet as often as he does, but he is the captain, leads by example, and does a terrific job. The other main player to look out for there is their striker, and forgive me for my pronunciation of this. I did research and try and find out how to say it, but it turns out everybody says it differently as well. So he is called Luca Yeremgard, and he is a 6'6" striker on loan from Italian side Udinese. He's scored 4 goals so far this season. Got a terrific left foot on him, and is a real handful in the box by all accounts. So he's definitely somebody to be aware of. Hopefully Dara O'Shea can do a job on him. We'll wait and see. But they tend to opt for a 3-4-1-2 formation, certainly under Grazia anyway. That seems to be their preferred formation. So it'll be interesting to see how Kieran McKenna's 4-2-3-1 plays up against that. Now, before we move on to Ipswich, I have one more stat to say, but I'm going to say it through gritted teeth, and I'm also going to say it whilst touching wood. They are yet to win away from home this season. Their away form has not been very good at all. I don't want to jinx that. I don't want that to change on Tuesday night. But it's Vicarage Road where they're picking up all of their points at the minute. Their home form is very strong, but they're going to have to try and turn around their away form if they are to mount a serious push for a return to the Premier League. But of course, Ipswich hadn't won away from home until the weekend, and now we went and beat QPR, and that duck has sort of been taken off the back now, and hopefully we can crack on away from home. But let's not wish the same fate for our opponents on Tuesday night. Okay, then on to the Super Blues, and let's talk about Ipswich, and let's talk about something that I hope doesn't happen. And what I hope doesn't happen is that Kieran McKenna makes a lot of changes like we've seen him do on every midweek game so far this season. And I get it. I completely understand it. The Championship is relentless. The Saturday-Tuesday nature of it is busy. But we're finally starting to see the best of Ipswich Town, I think. Obviously, that performance against West Brom was much improved. Really good performance against QPR. And there was only one change between those 2 games, and that was enforced. That was obviously because Sam Schmodix was injured and then Nunes came in his place. But otherwise, it was completely unchanged. And I think that was massive to the success at Loftus Road. And I think hopefully we'll see largely the same squad come out against Watford on Tuesday night. You just started to see a few more patterns building up. That partnership between Hurst and Agelli was building up. I think Jack Taylor and Matasiwa complement each other really well in the midfield. I think if we can carry on building those partnerships, I think back to when we were promoted from League One, we went on a ridiculously long winning streak towards the end of the season, and that was largely because we played near enough the same 11 every week. And I get there's times in football where it has to change and you have to mix things about, but I think just as we're building a little bit of momentum, it'd be nice to try and keep it as sort of familiar and as unchanged as we possibly can. And then we go into obviously Swansea on Saturday. We're looking a bit further forward now, and then after that it's the international break. So why not ask a lot of your players for the next couple of games, and then the majority of them can have a little bit of a rest sort of the next week when it comes around to the international break. There might be a couple of enforced changes. We'll have to wait and see about that. Leif Davis and George Hurst both came off. We don't really know exactly why that was yet, but hopefully both of them will be okay to start on Tuesday night. We'll obviously have to wait and see about that. Ivan Azon was absent from the squad against QPR, so it'll be interesting to see what happens if Hurst is injured, and who would come in and play as the number 9. Hopefully Hurst will be okay. He'll make it to Tuesday night. If not, hopefully Ivan Azon is back. We'll wait and see. But team selection is going to be very interesting come sort of 6:45 when it's announced. But I do have to say, on paper, looking at this, it's a really good opportunity for Ipswich Town to build some momentum. And I looked before the QPR game at our next run of 4 games. It was QPR, Watford, Swansea and Wrexham, and I don't mean this to discredit any of those teams, but based on our start to the season and having not been great and having not built any momentum, I sort of thought that this would be a really good opportunity to try and do exactly that. And we duly started that obviously against QPR, and hopefully we can carry that on against Watford. And then if we can then start to just build a few points, and we can already see how quickly we're climbing the table, come sort of mid-December, there's no reason we don't find ourselves right up there and in amongst the race for automatic promotion and even the title again, despite having, not the best start to the season. But we've won 5 out of our last 8, which really isn't a bad return, all things considered. And I know we had those couple of defeats to Middlesbrough and Charlton, which weren't ideal in any circumstances. But, I do think that we have been dominant in most games. It's just about finding that killer edge and just that little bit more creativity in the final third, just tightening up a little bit at the back as well. And yeah, I think we'll climb the table very, very quickly. And we do certainly seem to be doing that at the minute. Let's just hope that we can continue to do so against Watford. I'm confident. On paper, we've got the better team. Of course, football's not played on paper, it's played on grass. So we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. But I'm going to back Ipswich Town for a comfortable 2-0 home victory. Tell me in the comment section what you think the score is going to be. Enjoy the game wherever you're watching. I will be at Portman Road cheering the boys on. But other than that, all that's left to say is thank you very much for watching. Keep the faith, up a town, and keep on keeping on.